Okay, so when we're looking at commercial property as an investment, there is typically three things that we look for. First of all, we're looking at the asset. What's the underlying asset, and making sure that we've got an appropriate structure around debt and equity. So typically that sits around 67 to 70% against commercial property, although that can change depending on the nature of the asset, whether it's a specialised asset or just a typical or more traditional asset, similar to office, industrial, retail, etc., etc. The second component, once we've looked at asset, is certainly around cash flow. So when we talk cash flow, we're looking typically at tenancy. What's the tenancy of that investment property, and what is the quality of those counterparties? What's the average weighting on lease expiry to make sure that we've got a really solid understanding of the cash flow that that investment property will generate? Are there any risks that need to be mitigated, or are there any risks that the client needs to be aware of that could fundamentally impact the potential yield and ongoing asset growth or capital growth of that asset as well? So once we've looked at those two things, it's also about understanding the locality. What sort of asset are you looking to invest in, and where is that situated? And where that is situated is so important, because you need to understand, well, what's the competitive landscape for my asset in that locality? Am I competing with a significant office market kind of locality where there's going to be competitive pressures on rents, and potentially that may impact yield? But not just the short term, even the longer term. How is the world out there evolving? What does the future of work look like? Is it appropriate to be investing in an office space that's situated in that locality that's going through a lot of transformation and potentially could be rezoned and used for different purposes? That may work on the upside, may also work on the downside. So looking at the asset, understanding the cash flow, and just making sure that we've got a good understanding of that asset in its set location to make sure that that's a sustainable, ongoing investment asset and is aligned with the client's strategy.